Hello, I'm going to do the Aries 2023 energy reading, and this may or may not resonate with you. If it does, take the parts that do. If it does not, leave the parts that do not, as those may be meant for someone else. All right, I'm going to use my wisdom of the Oracle, and we're going to look at what may Aries possibly struggle with this year in 2023. I feel like these two. So we have time for a nap. And then we have message in a bottle. Okay. What does Aries need to look at this year? Deep knowing. Possible, but the cards just want to come out. Possible future energies for Aries. I'm just going to take one, and we have soulmates. Look at that. How cute is that? Soulmates. Soulmates. Overall energy for Aries this year, by the book. By the book, following the path. I feel like it's sticking to your direction and sticking to your guidance. I feel like that will help you to give you direction. So what you may possibly be struggling with this year is time for a nap and message in a bottle. I almost feel like it's kind of slowing things down and kind of taking some time out for yourself, but to hear other messages around you. I feel like you may struggle with, I feel like you might be really, really busy this year. I feel like you have a lot going on this year, that like you've got a lot on your plate this year, and what you struggle with is taking that time for yourself. Sometimes if we don't take that time for ourselves, then we get very drained and we get overwhelmed, but then we can't really see what's going on because we're so tired. We're just trying to react to each fire that we feel is coming towards us. I also feel like that you may have to delegate some of those things to somebody else to help get things off your plate. I feel like there is a lot of growth within yourself, but I feel like it's a deeper knowing of yourself and realizing what you can handle and what you can't handle. Realizing that there are times when you have to rely on others, and there are times when you can rely on yourself. But I feel like it's kind of this distribution of power within this year. Because sometimes, like I said, if we take too much onto our plate, we're not really giving each situation enough time or enough attention to get the fullest results that we can. All right, let's get some tarot. So what is this time for a nap and message in a bottle? When we have that quiet time, we can receive those messages in, and I feel like that's what you may be missing, is because you're not getting those, there's a message, those signs, that direction, that guidance. You're not getting that because there's so much going on, because you're not taking that time out. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take a nap, but it could be that that time for you to recharge yourself, whatever that may be. For me, it's going to the barn. I love going to the barn. That helps me to recharge. It helps me to gives me the energy to deal with other areas of my life. There may be something that you need to process here with this Five of Cups, right? That you haven't processed these three spilt cups. Sometimes we like to keep ourselves really busy with things because we don't really want to face the truth of a situation or the reality of a situation or the loss of something. So we're like, I'm just going to throw myself into work and I'm just not going to think about it. I'm not going to focus on it, and I'm not going to work on it. But that can work for a little while, but over time that starts to build up, and it starts to give us that resentment, and it starts to give us that anger, and then we start lashing out on different areas of our life. So I feel like you don't have patience with anything, right? Because Temperance is patience. It could also be Sagittarius. But you don't have patience with things, and that's what I was saying, is that if you don't have time to process these things, that you don't have patience with things, and then you start lashing out all over the place. We have the Hangman you're not seeing things from all perspectives or different perspectives, because you just kind of have these blinders on and you're like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to focus on it. I don't want to take that time out. I don't want to have that quiet time because I don't really want to find the answers. I don't really want to process it. I just want to keep going. But I feel like there's a situation or situations that may come up this year that it may work for a little while, but I just feel like you need to realize that holding on to it is going to affect you negatively in different areas of your life. It's that what you need to look at is that deeper knowing that, okay, yeah, it's a tough situation and I have to deal with it. And I don't really have time for it, but it's something that if I don't clear that energy, if I don't deal with it, if I don't face it, it's going to cause bigger problems, right? That if I'm going to worry about things, worrying about a relationship, worrying about a connection, worrying about communication, worrying about whatever this Two of Cups represents for you, whether it's within yourself or it's with a friend or a family member or a partnership, that you're worried about that, right? You're worried about how that's going to affect this relationship. But you have the power, right, to stop things, to take a nap, to process this situation here, whatever this may be, whether it's a relationship that you feel that person hurt you, or it was you tried to achieve a goal and you failed at that, it didn't work out, so it pushes you even harder to try and focus on something else because you don't want to acknowledge that loss, whatever that Three of Cups represents for you. But I feel like you need to realize that deeper knowing that you are stronger than you realize, that you are in control, that you are in power, right? I almost feel like there's a weakness here, but you don't want to acknowledge that weakness, but really acknowledging the weakness gives you more power because you know your weaknesses, you know your strengths, but I almost feel like when you know your weaknesses, you can deal with things better. So we have soulmates, future energies. I feel like a relationship changes. I feel like the way that you look at a relationship, the way you work on a relationship, the way that you deal with a relationship changes. I feel that you have more patience, you have more determination to work on the relationship, and you don't try to push things within the relationship. Relax. It's an easier relationship. It's a calmer relationship, right? That moving towards the future, that you could just kind of take that step back and you kind of just let things fall in place, right? And follow in line. Bottom of the Ace of Cups, new relationship. That's exactly what I was saying. Soulmates, Ace of Cups, Two of Cups. It has to do with the relationship. Could be that relationship, could be both the relationship that you have with yourself and the relationship that you have with someone else. That I feel like you find that calmness within this relationship and you start to find that connection. I feel like maybe you realize maybe this person did something to you that hurt you and you're holding on to it. And it's building up inside you and you're trying to forget it. You're saying, yeah, I'm fine with it, but you're really not fine with it inside. And it's starting to build up and it's starting to create this resentment, right? And it's starting to cause this friction and this stress and this anxiety in this relationship. But I feel like you realize that you're in control, that if there is something that is bothering you, that you need to step up to the plate and you need to work through it. And you need to realize, hey, I'm starting to have resentment towards this person. I need to think differently. I need to find the solution as how do I let this go, because this person is important to me. This is someone that I see a future with. This is someone that I want to work on the relationship with. That I want to follow that path within this relationship, and what are those things that I need to work on, and what are those things that I need to let go of? What is it that I need to see? All right, so we have the garden and the gate. I feel like you have to open the gate in order to reach the garden. You have to open the doors. This butterfly is drawing my attention. Change, evolution. The butterfly goes from the cocoon and the caterpillar and the cocoon into the butterfly, but it blossoms into something that's beautiful, right? These two here. But in order to get to the garden, you have this gate that I feel that you have to go through too. First, you have to open up those doors, right? To see the beauty of the garden that I feel like you don't realize that is there. Yes, we have the roses which have thorns, right? The roses are very beautiful, but it also has thorns, and I feel like that's the relationships. Two of Cups, soulmates, Ace of Cups. Relationships have that beauty, but it also has those thorns within the relationships, and that's what you have to realize, is that there's those times when it feels like the thorns, right? But then looking at it overall, the rose looks beautiful, and seeing the beauty of that. Rest and rejuvenation, and so that's, again, that's what you were struggling with over here, and we have rest and rejuvenation, is that taking that time out to look into that inner self and finding that deeper knowing, and knowing, okay, there are adjustments that you have to make. There are adjustments that you have to change, that if there's something that's bothering you, that you have to learn to process it, to express it, to communicate it, and to let it go, because you have to see how it's affecting the relationship. And then we have 5th chakra, Archangel Gabriel. And the 5th chakra is the throat chakra, and that represents the power to communicate. It represents, you could have trouble expressing your emotions, right? And expressing how you really feel. But with the Archangel Gabriel coming into this reading, you will no longer have that. Like with this being kind of the final message, is that you realize this because you have this deeper knowing that you have to express, right? That if there's something that's bothering you, you have to communicate it. You have to speak up, and you have to speak your truth. Not what you think that person wants to hear, but you have to speak your truth about the situation and how you're truly feeling. Because that brings that truth to this relationship. That you have to communicate with yourself on how you're truly feeling, and having that deeper knowing as what's really, how you're really feeling, what you really feel, what is the way to resolve the situation, what you need from that other person, and then to communicate that to the person. You are in control. You have the power over what you say and what you don't say, and to realize that. So I feel like that's a big thing for you this year. It's a deeper knowing within yourself, and for you to be able to communicate your truth this year, and to not have as much trouble expressing how it is that you feel. But you have to understand that within yourself first before you can express that to someone else. If you don't understand it, they're not going to understand it. I feel like the relationship that you have with yourself and the relationship that you have with others is going to become a lot stronger this year. We have bliss, cherishing the day. I love it. Cherishing the day, cherishing this journey that you're going on, cherishing all of the successes, learning from the defeats, but becoming stronger, but enjoying each day that you have. All right. I hope you have an amazing day. Sounds like an amazing year for you. As always, stay positive, stay safe, and I will see you next time.